Not every great motorcycle comes with a cult following. Some slip under the radar, too practical, too quiet, or just too real for the Instagram crowd. But make no mistake, because these bikes have muscle, charm, and miles of potential. These are the 12 motorcycles that are stupidly underrated and forgotten by the spotlight, but loved by riders who know better. Number 12, Royal Enfield Hunter 350. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't pretend to be something it's not. And that's exactly why the Royal Enfield Hunter 350 deserves way more credit than it gets. While most entry-level bikes try to impress with edgy plastics or spec sheet one-upmanship, the Hunter plays a smarter game. Keep it simple, keep it solid, and keep it fun. At the center of this machine is a single-cylinder, air-cooled engine displacing 349 cubic centimeters. It's the same platform used in the Meteor and Classic, but here it's been retuned just enough to feel more responsive. The result is an engine that's smooth, approachable, and actually kind of charming. No fuss, no drama, just clean power delivery from low revs to the top of the range. Weighing in just under 400 pounds, the Hunter feels light, nimble, and super easy to throw around. It's the kind of bike that new riders grow confidence on, and experienced riders still enjoy in tight city traffic or lazy weekend curves. The compact chassis and upright ergonomics make it incredibly user-friendly, but also surprisingly composed when you push it a little harder than you'd expect. Horsepower isn't going to blow anyone's mind, around 20 horsepower. But here's the thing, it doesn't need to. This isn't a track tool or a flex piece. It's a real-world ride that gives you just enough to stay ahead of traffic, lean into corners with confidence, and grin every time you twist the throttle. The fueling is spot on. The throttle response feels crisp, and it never feels overwhelmed by its own ambitions. In the torque department, it makes around 20 pound-feet, delivered low in the rev range. That means quick starts off the line and solid pull through city speeds, even without a downshift. It won't win races, but it never feels sluggish either. Top speed? Around 75 miles per hour, which is more than enough for short highway blasts or backroad runs. Fuel economy is where it really scores, about 70 miles per gallon. Combine that with a sub $4,000 price tag, and you've got one of the most affordable and practical new bikes on the market. And it still comes with style, metal fenders, round headlight, clean lines, and a retro-modern vibe that stands out without trying too hard. The Royal Enfield Hunter 350 isn't trying to be the fastest or flashiest, it just wants to be your favorite. And for a lot of riders, that's exactly what it becomes. Number 11, Suzuki GS500. It won't win a bike night trophy, it won't break speed records, but the Suzuki GS500 might just outlast every flashy machine parked next to it. While the motorcycle world chases trends, the GS quietly delivers real-world reliability, balanced performance, and a price that barely dents your wallet. At the heart of this bike is a parallel twin engine, displacing 487 cubic centimeters. Air-cooled, simple, and designed with the long haul in mind. It was never about high-rev fireworks. It was about doing everything well without making a scene. This is the kind of motor that keeps running, while other bikes are in the shop, waiting on back-ordered parts. The GS500 came in light, with a curb weight just under 400 pounds. That gave it a nimble feel in city traffic and a confidence-inspiring ride in the corners. It wasn't intimidating, but it wasn't soft either. The chassis was well-balanced, the suspension handled more than most expected, and the ergonomics made longer rides feel surprisingly comfortable for a budget bike. Horsepower figures hovered around 47 horsepower, which doesn't sound like much until you actually ride one. The delivery is smooth, the throttle is forgiving, and there's just enough mid-range punch to keep things fun on back roads or during highway merges. The power band is usable, predictable, and rewarding without ever trying to scare you. Where the GS really scores is in torque. It pulls a respectable 29 pound-feet, which comes in early enough to make gear changes relaxed and low-speed riding effortless. Whether you're zipping through town or rolling through a winding back road, it never feels like it's working too hard, or making you work too hard either. Top speed? Just shy of 110 miles per hour, though the sweet spot is more in that 60 to 70 cruising zone. It'll sit there all day, calmly and without complaint. That's where its real value shines, not chasing lap times, just eating miles with zero drama. And the fuel economy? Think 50 to 70 miles per gallon, depending on how heavy your wrist is. That kind of efficiency, paired with low insurance costs and easy maintenance, makes this one of the most affordable bikes to own, period. So why is it so underrated? Because it never screamed for attention. No fancy electronics, no race replica fairings, no bold claims. The Suzuki GS500 is the motorcycle equivalent of a dependable friend, always there, always ready, and never asking for more than a bit of fuel and an occasional oil change. And in a world full of bikes chasing the spotlight, that kind of loyalty is rare. Number 10. CF Moto 300 SS. If this bike had a different logo on the tank, you'd already know its name. But because it doesn't say Yamaha or Kawasaki, the CF Moto 300 SS keeps slipping under the radar. And that's a mistake. This bike isn't just good for the money. It's good, period. Let's start with the facts. CF Moto isn't exactly a household name in the United States, but they've been building motorcycles and engines for years. In fact, they've been making parts for other big-name manufacturers behind the scenes. The 300 SS is their entry into the small sport bike category, and it came out swinging, with way more tech, finish, and style than anyone expected at this price point. At the core of the 300 SS is a single-cylinder, liquid-cooled engine displacing 293 cubic centimeters. It's smooth, well-balanced, and surprisingly refined for a small thumper. No weird vibrations, no hesitation, just clean power from low revs through to the red line. For newer riders, it's confidence-inspiring. For experienced ones, it's just plain fun. The bike weighs a hair under 400 pounds, making it light enough to flick through corners, but still planted and stable on longer rides. The ergonomics are sporty, but not punishing. You can ride it to work all week, hit a few twisties on the weekend, and still be smiling Monday morning. On the performance side, it cranks out 29 horsepower, which puts it right in line with other entry-level sport bikes. But what sets it apart is how it delivers that power. The fueling is crisp, the gearbox is slick, and the throttle response is tight without being twitchy. Everything feels sorted, and that's not always the case in this price range. Torque is another strong point, sitting at around 18 pound-feet. It comes on low, which means you get usable pull without needing to wring it out in every gear. Whether you're cruising through traffic or diving into a corner, the 300 SS feels ready. Top speed comes in at just under 90 miles per hour, which is plenty for daily use and more than enough to make the bike feel exciting. But where it really wins riders over is the tech. It has a full-color 5-inch TFT display, Bluetooth connectivity, LED lighting, and a slipper clutch. That's gear you usually don't see until you're paying a few thousand more. Fuel economy? Expect somewhere between 60 and 70 miles per gallon. Combine that with a price tag starting around $4,600, and it's one of the best value propositions in motorcycling today. The CF Moto 300 SS is proof that badge bias still blinds a lot of buyers. But if you care more about riding than logos, this one's a no-brainer. It's not just underrated. Number 9. Kawasaki Zephyr 550. Some bikes are loud about what they do. Others, like the Kawasaki Zephyr 550, just quietly go about being brilliant. It never made magazine covers or lit up spec sheets, but that's exactly why it's one of the most stupidly underrated motorcycles you can still find today. Built as a throwback to the golden age of UJMs, the Zephyr 550 arrived in the early 90s, channeling that 70s vibe with modern reliability. Round headlight, twin shocks, simple lines, nothing about it screams, "Look at me." But once you ride it, you'll wonder how this one ever got overlooked. Powering the Zephyr is a smooth, air-cooled, inline 4-cylinder engine, displacing 553 cubic centimeters. It's not a high-strung screamer. Instead, it delivers power in a way that feels measured, refined, and, most importantly, useful. The engine was derived from older GPZ motors, tuned down slightly but still filled with character. What really defines this bike is how it feels on the road. It weighs just over 400 pounds, and that makes it feel balanced and light without being twitchy. The chassis is tight enough to enjoy in the twisties, but relaxed enough for casual cruising. Add in wide bars and an upright seating position, and you get one of the most comfortable middleweight standards of its time. On the number side, it produces around 50 horsepower, which may not turn heads today, but feels more than adequate on real roads. The mid-range is where it really comes alive, making everyday riding feel quick and connected. The delivery is linear, and the throttle response is clean, no surprises, just smooth acceleration when you want it. Torque sits around 32 pound-feet, and it rolls in nice and early. That makes the Zephyr easy to ride in town and relaxed on the highway. You won't need to wring it out to make progress, and that's part of the charm. It always feels in its comfort zone. Top speed lands close to 110 miles per hour, but this bike was never meant for high-speed drama. It was built for the kind of riding most people actually do, commuting, short touring, and weekend fun. and that's exactly where it shines. Fuel economy typically falls between 45 and 50 miles per gallon, making it surprisingly economical for a 4-cylinder. Combine that with rock-solid reliability and easy maintenance, and you've got a bike that delivers far more than its price tag suggests. The Kawasaki Zephyr 550 is a reminder that not every great ride needs to shout. Some just hum along mile after mile, waiting for the right rider to appreciate what they've quietly offered all along. Number 8. MZ Scorpion 660. Most riders have never heard of it, and that's exactly why the MZ Scorpion 660 deserves your full attention. It's not flashy, it's not famous, but it just might be the smartest used bike almost no one is talking about. This thing is a true sleeper, international DNA, solid engineering, and a ride that punches way above its price tag. Let's start with where it came from. The Scorpion was built in the mid-90s by MZ, a German brand best known for rugged utilitarian bikes from behind the Iron Curtain. But the Scorpion wasn't just another basic commuter. This was a different breed. It blended a Japanese engine, Italian components, and British design into something unexpectedly sharp. That mix gave it a feel that's both refined and weirdly fun. Powering the Scorpion is a liquid-cooled, single-cylinder engine displacing 659 cubic centimeters. It's the same Yamaha power plant found in the XT and SR series. Reliable, torquey, and well-proven. The motor delivers clean power with just the right thump, making it feel alive without ever being unmanageable. One of the first things riders notice is the weight, or lack of it. At just around 380 pounds dry, the Scorpion is light and nimble, which means it handles beautifully in the corners and feels playful on back roads. The frame, built by British firm Seymour Powell, keeps it stiff and responsive, while the Italian suspension and brakes give it control you usually wouldn't expect from a bike in this category. Horsepower comes in at about 48 to 58 horsepower, depending on the model year and tuning. That might not sound wild, but paired with the low weight, it gives the Scorpion serious pep. It pulls strong off the line and keeps climbing smoothly, quick enough to have fun without biting back. Torque lands right around 44 pound-feet, which means the bike doesn't need constant shifting to stay in the sweet spot. Roll-on acceleration is satisfying, and it never feels bogged down or lazy. The character of the engine makes everyday riding more engaging than it has any right to be. Top speed is just north of 110 miles per hour, though the bike feels happiest cruising anywhere between 50 and 80. It's not built to race, it's built to ride, and it does that with character. Fuel economy is excellent, with average numbers hovering near 50 miles per gallon. Combine that with low purchase prices, often well under $4,000 used, and you've got one of the best-kept secrets in motorcycling. The MZ Scorpion 660 didn't make headlines, but it made sense. Smart design, proven parts, and a personality that sticks with you. It's one of those bikes that leaves a mark, not with volume, but with substance. Number 7. Yamaha YZF 600R Thundercat. The Yamaha YZF 600R. Thundercat may not have the fame of the R6, or the brutal edge of a track missile, but that's what makes it one of the most stupidly underrated bikes out there. It's the sport bike that doesn't punish you for riding it daily and still knows how to have fun on the weekends. At its heart is a 4-cylinder, liquid-cooled engine displacing 599 cubic centimeters. This isn't some watered-down commuter motor. It's a real-deal sport engine with a broad power band and a surprisingly refined feel. Yamaha engineered this thing with balance in mind, not just bragging rights. What really makes the Thundercat stand out is its comfort. While other sport bikes throw you into a crouch and dare you to survive the ride, the Thundercat gives you real-world ergonomics. The bars are slightly raised, the seat is wide and forgiving, and the fairing offers decent wind protection. All of this, wrapped in a chassis that's stable enough for touring and agile enough to carve up your favorite canyon. Power output is a solid 100 horsepower. That's plenty to keep things exciting, especially once the revs climb into the mid-range. It's quick enough to outrun traffic, hang with faster bikes, and deliver a grin every time you open it up on a straight. And yet, it never feels like it's trying too hard. In terms of torque, the Thundercat dishes out around 48 pound-feet, and the delivery is smooth and usable. That makes it flexible in traffic and forgiving on tighter roads where low-end pull matters more than top-end charge. It's the kind of bike that doesn't force you to ride hard, but rewards you when you do. Top speed sits just under 150 miles per hour, but this machine isn't about redline madness. It's about covering serious miles without needing a chiropractor. That's where it shines, giving you real performance without the pain. Fuel economy? Expect around 45 miles per gallon on average. Not bad for a 4-cylinder sport bike that still has legit performance chops. And because it never became a collector's darling, used prices remain incredibly reasonable, often between $2,000 and $4,000. The Yamaha YZF 600R Thundercat didn't try to dominate the racetrack. It just quietly outlasted a lot of bikes that did. Fast, comfortable, and built with typical Yamaha toughness. It's the kind of forgotten gem that makes you wonder why anyone ever stopped talking about it. Did your favorite hidden hero make the list? Or are we sleeping on something even better? Let us know in the comments, like the video, and subscribe for more. Number 6. Yezdi Roadking. The Yezdi Roadking wasn't built for Polish. It was built for people who didn't mind getting their hands dirty, learning a few tricks, and loving a machine that kicked back, literally. And that's exactly why it's one of the most stupidly underrated motorcycles ever made. Let's get one thing straight. This wasn't your average commuter bike. The Roadking was raw, mechanical, and proudly analog in every sense. At its core was a 2-stroke, twin-port engine, displacing 246 cubic centimeters. It came with quirks, lots of them. Chief among them, a single lever that worked as both the gear shifter and the kickstarter. Confusing at first, but once mastered, it was one of those oddball features that made the bike feel like it had a secret handshake. It weighed just about 340 pounds, giving it an agility that most people didn't expect. On bad roads, dirt trails, or busted pavement, the Roadking felt strangely at home. It didn't glide so much as it growled its way forward, shrugging off whatever terrain you pointed it at. And that was its edge. It was rough, but never rattled. Power output landed around 16 horsepower, but don't let that number fool you. This was 2-stroke power, snappy, punchy, and always eager to remind you that throttle control matters. Twist it too hard, and the bike surged forward with the kind of excitement most modern entry-level machines can't replicate. As for torque, you got about 16 pound-feet low in the revs. That meant the Roadking didn't need to be wrung out to feel alive. It had grunt where it counted, especially in second and third gear, perfect for weaving through traffic or sliding over gravel without ever breaking a sweat. Top speed? Roughly 75 miles per hour, but honestly, it felt like 100. Between the vibration, the bark of those twin exhausts, and the wind trying to rip off your jacket, the experience was pure, unfiltered adrenaline, and it came without screens, sensors, or any electronic backup. Fuel economy hovered around 45 miles per gallon, making it surprisingly efficient for a bike that spent most of its life being revved like it was trying to escape its own frame. And maintenance? Old school simple. A wrench, a rag, and a bit of patience were all you needed. The Yezdi Roadking was never about refinement. It was about attitude. It didn't care if you were comfortable, it cared if you were awake. A legend in its own right, and a perfect reminder that sometimes the weirdest bikes leave the biggest impressions. Number 5. BMW R1150GS. It's big, it's quirky, and it looks like it could ride through a war zone and still make it to dinner on time. The BMW R1150GS is the bike that defined a segment and then somehow got left behind by its own legacy. While newer GS models soak up all the spotlight, the 1150 quietly remains one of the most stupidly underrated motorcycles ever built. This was the machine that helped kick off the global adventure bike craze long before it became trendy. It was the bike people actually toured the world on, not just posed next to at gas stations. And it earned that status with good reason. The R1150 GS isn't a bike you baby. It's a bike you trust, especially when the road gets sketchy or disappears entirely. At the core of this beast is a flat twin air and oil-cooled boxer engine displacing 1,137 cubic centimeters. It's got that unmistakable boxer rumble and a feel that's both rugged and refined. This motor isn't built for high-rev chaos. It's about torque, tractability, and staying cool under pressure, literally and figuratively. Despite its adventure credentials, the R1150 GS handles far better than its size suggests. Wet weight is close to 549 pounds, yet it somehow feels composed in tight corners and planted on gravel or tarmac. The telelever front suspension eliminates front-end dive, and once you get used to it, you wonder why every bike doesn't work this way. Horsepower comes in at around 85 horsepower, which may not sound explosive by modern standards, but the delivery is smooth and confident. It's the kind of power that works in the real world, pulling uphill fully loaded, overtaking with ease, or just cruising for hours without fatigue. Now torque, that's where the R1150 GS shines. You get 75 pound-feet of torque, and it shows up early. The low-end grunt is perfect for off-road climbs or lazy highway passes without dropping a gear. Twist the throttle and the big GS just digs in and goes. Top speed? Around 125 miles per hour. But honestly, it's not about going fast. It's about going far. The real win here is its touring ability. And with a comfortable seat, tall stance, and protective fairing, the miles disappear fast. Fuel economy is solid for a bike of this size, averaging around 45 miles per gallon. With a big tank and long legs, this bike doesn't ask for much. Just point it at a horizon and let it do its thing. The BMW R1150 GS isn't new, and it doesn't need to be. It's already proven itself, again and again. And while everyone else is chasing updates, this GS is quietly out there, still racking up miles, still crossing borders, still underrated. Number 4, Honda XR650L. In a world of digital dashboards, electronic ride modes, and adventure bikes that weigh as much as your car, the Honda XR650L stands there, unchanged, unbothered, and completely unkillable. This is not a bike that evolves. It simply endures. And after more than 3 decades of proving itself, it remains one of the most stupidly underrated motorcycles ever made. The XR650L is what happens when a dirt bike grows up, but refuses to settle down. It's tall, it's tough, and it doesn't care what terrain you throw at it. Pavement, gravel, sand, snow. It doesn't flinch. This is a machine that's been flogged through deserts, dropped off cliffs, and bounced through forests, only to kick back to life with a little choke and a firm boot. At the center of this beast is an air-cooled single-cylinder engine displacing 644 cubic centimeters. No liquid cooling, no computer-controlled trickery, just an old-school thumper that's easy to wrench on and even easier to trust. It may not be the smoothest motor on Earth, but it's as reliable as a sunrise. The XR650L comes in tall and proud with a seat height of over 37 inches and a wet weight hovering around 346 pounds. That might scare off some riders, but here's the truth. Once you're moving, the bike feels lighter than it is. The geometry is dialed, the suspension is long travel and forgiving, and the upright riding position gives you total command of the terrain ahead. On the power front, you're working with about 40 horsepower. That's more than enough to tear up a fire road or cruise confidently on the highway. It won't win drag races, but the throttle response is immediate, and the bike has no problem carrying a load through steep climbs or sandy switchbacks. Torque is equally solid, coming in at around 47 pound-feet. It's low and strong, which is exactly what you want in a dual sport. The XR650L can crawl up technical trails in first gear, or chug through city traffic without constant shifting. It's not fast, but it is always ready. Top speed hovers around 105 miles per hour, though most riders are happy keeping it in that 50 to 70 sweet spot, where it hums along without stress. It'll do highway miles when needed, but its heart lives off the pavement. Fuel economy sits between 45 and 50 miles per gallon, and maintenance is about as straightforward as it gets. No diagnostics, no dealer-only tools, just a wrench, a manual, and a garage. The Honda XR650L doesn't try to be modern, and that's exactly why it matters. It's simple, bomb-proof, and built to go the distance long after flashier bikes tap out. It's not just underrated, it's unstoppable. Number 3, Triumph Daytona 675. The Triumph Daytona 675 isn't just underrated, it's one of the greatest middleweight sport bikes ever made, and somehow, it still doesn't get the respect it deserves. In a market ruled by Japanese fours, Triumph made a bold move. Instead of building another clone, they gave us a triple. That alone set the Daytona apart. It wasn't about following the formula, it was about rewriting it. And what they built wasn't just different, it was brilliant. At the center is a liquid-cooled inline 3-cylinder engine displacing 675 cubic centimeters. Compact, responsive, and packed with personality, it delivered the kind of power that made you forget what everyone else was riding. The torque came early, the revs built quick, and the engine note, pure mechanical music. It also had the handling to match. With a curb weight of roughly 417 pounds, the Daytona felt light without feeling twitchy. It leaned in confidently, held a line like it was on rails, and gave back every ounce of trust you put into it. On the street or the track, this thing was surgical and addictive. Horsepower landed around 124 horsepower, which put it right in the fight with the best in the class. But what made it special was how that power came on. It wasn't a light switch, it was a wave, linear, usable, and totally alive. You didn't have to wring its neck to feel the rush. Torque numbers came in around 53 pound-feet, and that gave it a major advantage over its peaky rivals. Mid-range pull was strong, meaning less shifting and more speed, especially in real-world riding. Whether slicing through traffic or hammering out of a hairpin, the Daytona never left you waiting. Top speed? You're looking at roughly 165 miles per hour, and it felt planted all the way there. Suspension was fully adjustable, and the cockpit was aggressive without being torture. This was a bike built by riders, not marketing teams. Fuel economy sat close to 38 miles per gallon, which was more than fair considering the performance on tap. Reliability? Solid. Maintenance? Straightforward. Ownership? Totally worth it. The Triumph Daytona 675 didn't win over the masses, but it won over riders who knew the difference between hype and engineering. It's not just one of the best sport bikes Triumph ever built, it's one of the best, period. The only thing wrong with it? More people should be riding one. Number 2, Suzuki GS750. It never starred in a movie, it didn't wear wild paint, and it wasn't the first to the horsepower wars. But the Suzuki GS750 was the bike that quietly did everything right, while everyone else was busy trying to look faster. It was dependable, balanced, and way ahead of its time. And today, it remains one of the most stupidly underrated motorcycles of the 1970s. This was Suzuki's first real four-stroke. While the world expected something radical, Suzuki instead delivered something refined, almost shockingly so. The GS750 didn't scream for attention. It earned it, mile after mile, with a kind of mechanical honesty that most modern bikes lost years ago. At the heart of this classic is an inline four-cylinder, air-cooled engine displacing 743 cubic centimeters. It was double overhead cam, smooth, and surprisingly modern for the era. You didn't have to coax it, you didn't have to tame it, you just had to ride it, and it rewarded you every time. Despite its solid appearance, the GS750 was impressively agile. With a curb weight just under 500 pounds, it struck a perfect balance between stability and maneuverability. The frame was stiffer than its rivals, giving it confident handling that didn't fall apart when the road turned rough. On the performance side, it delivered around 63 horsepower, which slotted it neatly between the Honda CB750 and Kawasaki Z1. But what set it apart wasn't the numbers, it was the feel. The power came in clean and predictable. You could ride it hard or cruise all day without a hiccup. Torque was equally respectable at around 44 pound-feet. That meant the GS750 had strong mid-range grunt, making it a joy to ride in everyday conditions. No need to chase redline just to make a pass or get off the line. It just pulled smooth and steady. Top speed sat close to 125 miles per hour, which made it one of the faster bikes of its time. But this wasn't a machine built for top speed bragging. It was about the ride, solid, comfortable, and quietly confident. Fuel economy came in around 45 miles per gallon, which was more than respectable for a bike of its size and power. Factor in simple maintenance, a bulletproof motor, and an engine note that's pure 1970s magic. And it's easy to see why the GS750 has aged better than most. The Suzuki GS750 never needed to shout. It just showed up, worked flawlessly, and went the distance. In a decade full of bold claims and bright colors, this was the bike that proved subtle could be strong, and staying power beats flash every time. Number 1. Honda VFR 800 Interceptor. Year after year, ride after ride, the Honda VFR 800 Interceptor delivers one of the most complete motorcycling experiences ever built into a single machine. And yet, it remains one of the most stupidly underrated bikes on the planet. This isn't a bike-chasing trend. It's a bike that outlasts them. Sport bike, sport tourer, daily commuter. The VFR 800 has been called all of those and lived up to every label. What sets it apart is how seamlessly it blends those roles. It's not trying to be everything. It just happens to do everything really, really well. Underneath the classic lines is a liquid-cooled V4 engine, displacing 781 cubic centimeters. This engine is the heart and soul of the VFR 800, unlike anything else in its class. The sound is unique, the feel is smooth, and the power delivery is addictive. It's refined without being soft and strong, without being aggressive. Despite its all-around ability, the VFR 800 doesn't ride like a compromise. With a curb weight just under 530 pounds, it feels planted and confident, whether you're leaning into corners or chewing up highway miles. The chassis is stiff, the suspension well-sorted, and the whole package feels like it's been engineered by people who actually ride. Horsepower comes in at around 104 horsepower, but numbers don't tell the full story. What makes the VFR 800 shine is the way that power flows, especially in the mid-range. It's responsive, linear, and deceptively quick. This isn't a peaky screamer. It's a wave of smooth torque that just keeps pulling. Speaking of torque, it delivers around 55 pound-feet, which means plenty of grunt for passing, climbing, or simply rolling on from any gear. You don't need to work the gearbox constantly to keep the ride engaging, though when you do, the gear-driven cams and precise throttle make it feel worth every shift. Top speed, you're looking at around 145 miles per hour, though the real magic happens well before that. It's in the flow of corners, the comfort of the seat, and the predictability of the handling. Fuel economy averages around 38 miles per gallon, which isn't class-leading, but it's more than fair for a machine this versatile. And with a reputation for legendary reliability, it's not uncommon to see VFR 800s with six-figure odometers still running strong. The Honda VFR 800 Interceptor isn't flashy. It doesn't chase likes or lap times. It just shows up, ready to ride, ready to last, and quietly better than most bikes ever built. Underrated only by those who've never ridden one. Not every great bike needs a big name to leave a big impression, and these 12 prove that. Tell us your favorite underrated ride in the comments, smash that like button, and subscribe for more underrated icons and honest bike talk.